I'm here to hang. I'm just down in some coffee. I'm here to hang.
Okay, so Jeff, if you don't mind, I'll start.
Go right ahead, man.
All right. So, Lita, here's the thing. So much for me to talk about. First, I want to talk about when you had the big hiatus. You took some time off. You come back. What is the most difficult part when you come back? Like, how difficult was it to gear back up after the layoff?
It was more than a layoff. It was being literally brainwashed for 16 years, and then coming back into the music industry and trying to remember who you were. Huh?
Yes. No, I'm listening. Go. Go. Just go.
Big different words, brainwashed or remember. Brainwashed is it's a big word.
Yes, and well, I mean, when you come back, I mean, I loved the new album when you came back, Living Like a Runaway. The music was, I mean, as metal as anything you've done, and I thought it was right back into it. I mean, the lyrics were darker than I was probably used to. Coming back now and listening back to that, when you listen back to that album, which is a few years old now, what's your thought when you listen back to that, or you think back to that album?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I think it's a great album. It's real. You want to know the true story or the real story of what happened, just listen to the record.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, obviously, there's the words of that you wrote was probably a big part of your life, but it was I loved it because from the very first chord to the very last, it's pure metal. I mean, the music was right back to where I think to the beginning. Your first couple of albums were real hard rock, heavy metal. It got by Lita, it kind of got to be a little what they call pop metal. It was more commercial, but those early albums were just right in your face. And I loved Living Like a Runaway because it was that again. It was like, boom, here I am. Go scratch your ass. I'm back, and I'm doing it. I'm doing it like I used to. I mean, it was that kind of the energy.
Yeah, cool. That's a good song.
Yeah, I mean, just a real good album. I absolutely loved it coming back. But I read your book, and Jeff, I'm hogging things. So Jeff, jump in whenever you want. But I read your book. The thing that I found funny about it, not funny, but the very beginning of the book, you talk about your parents. And now you think Lita Ford, she was rock and roll. She was in your face. And you think, well, where did she come from? And then you read about your family and how just down to earth, blue collar, just straight up good people, and they really encouraged you at an early age, drove you to auditions. You took the car, and really just kind of seemed to support you in your endeavor. And you just kind of the last thing you expected to read when you're reading about Lita Ford and her upbringing.
Yeah. They were amazing. They were amazing people. And it just gives you nothing but support and strength and confidence. So it was great. They were great.
Yeah, and what's funny when I listened to the beginning of when Time Capsule opens to the intro, and it's the part where I guess the dad is looking for his car keys, and the mom's saying, "Well, check with your daughter, and also you drive." Like I get a feeling like that actually happened in your youth.
Well, my mother's not from New York. She's Italian, full-blown Italian.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't talk with a New York accent, and that was Chris. It was supposed to be Chris Holmes. But we replaced him with my guitar player, who sounds better. So.
Okay. Now, now we're talking about Time Capsule, so let me ask you a little bit about Time Capsule. There's rumors, there's this, there's that. Is Time Capsule, and I don't know if you can tell us, but is that album the album that kind of never got released back in the day? And it can, people talk about the Tony Iommi was the producer, and it never got done. But now this pops up, and I look back to the people who were on it with guys like Gene Simmons and Billy Sheehan. Is that the lost album or the never released album?
No.
Really?
No.
Wow. So that's still in the archives then.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's I guess that's something that may never show up. So do you think you'll ever want to release that album? I mean, is there something there that you say, well, maybe someday, I'll want to put that out for people to hear?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's so hard these days to try to find people that have studios, and it's like, well, I can't do it on that day. How about you doing it on this day? Like, no, I can't do it on that day either. trying to coordinate schedules,
Sure. Well, yeah, it's got to be tough nowadays. But getting into the book was it the right time for a book, or was it more you wanted to kind of unload and get get the word back out and get the message that you were back? And what was the thought about putting the book out at that point?
Oh, when the book came out, I was scared. I was excited. I was everything at the same time. Like all the feelings you could possibly feel all ran through me at the same time. And then fucking the New York Post. And I got a feeling Joan Jett's manager might have had something to do with this. But the New York, because they wanted it, the first impression stays with you, right? When you see something for a first impression, and it said sex, something about drugs, and all the garbage that they could possibly pick out of the book. They picked it all and put it in a list on a row on the cover of on the New York Post. And I thought, of course, what else could my book possibly fucking be about? I was so mad. I was so mad because there's love stories in there, for God's sakes. There's funny things that happen in that book. There's life and death in that book. There's a lot.
Oh, I think they missed it. I think if you don't, if you only try to skim through the book and only go to like where the big name stuff is, I think you miss it because the book really is a deep, a love story, a love story with your family. I mean, if you really get through the book, there's a lot of funny stuff. I think people miss it, and I think there's also a big message in there. So I didn't see that by that review by the New York Post. I read the Post every day here in New York. But I think that is a misinterpretation. It really was a great book. I have to say, I read through it in about 4 days. I just couldn't put it down.
It didn't sound like it came from them, It was like, okay, who paid what to do who,
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
but
I got you.
It's good reading. I know what you mean. It's good reading, easy reading, and that's nice because sometimes it's like, oh my God, all I want to do is relax and read a book. I don't want to try and figure out what this word means and that word. It's too much.
No, but it was funny, and you tell some great stories, and you got some in depth, and you would think at this point in time. Well, that you do see stuff that's I know like even with the movie that they did, they kind of didn't feature you enough in it, and all the people talk about how maybe Joan Jett's management didn't want to give you the recognition you were due because realistically,
of course not.
Right? I mean, you come listen. You're obviously was the real musician in that group. You had the better career, and I'm not knocking Joan Jett. I don't think she's a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, and if she is, for sure, you should have been there twice already. So I don't get all of that. And, at this point, people should should not live in the past and in the pettiness of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. She's being brainwashed by him. I mean, she's wrapped around his little finger, She would be lost without him.
Well, I mean, let me ask you a question. I mean, at this point in time, I know that maybe there's an issue on that end. If they came to you, if everybody came to you and Joan was in and Sherry was in and everybody else was in, would you consider getting on stage with the old Runaways?
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, that would be just a fun night.
Absolutely.
What I would love to see, let me ask you this question. I would love to see what if you guys ever sat together in a room, tried to put together an album, but at the end, was it getting too punk for you? Was it going that direction too much where you were more the hard rock, the Rainbow, the Zeppelin? Were they trying to be too Ramones for you? Or
No, not at all. I loved the Ramones. I loved all that type of music. I was fine with Led Zeppelin. I was fine with the Ramones. I mean, I guess I grew up on kind of a mixture of that stuff. Sex Pistols, The Clash, and all those bands were awesome. They were great.
Yeah, and so did we. We all did here too, and I love that genre of music. But now let me ask you this: you put out the first album, and you rip it up, but it's not a commercial success that it should have been. But it wasn't quite ready for it. But you established yourself as, I'm not just this pretty girl who I'm sitting up here. You're a real great guitar player. But it takes it to Lita to get that commercial success. But there's such a difference in the style of music. The first album was more hard, and then you get to that more commercial stuff. When you wrote Lita, were you trying for that kind of sound, or was that just kind of manifested? You just kind of, that's what kind of came out of you?
The sound of the guitar has to go with the song, if that makes any sense. And that's
Sure.
the sound that I heard that went with that song.
Right.
It's bigger and solos and all.
Right, but the Lita album was more poppy, more commercial than the first two albums. I'm just curious if you were trying to be more commercial to get more, let's say, radio play, more MTV play. And obviously your looks were going to get you on MTV no matter what you wrote, but the music was so good. But you kind of changed your not your style, but like I said, it was more commercial. Were you trying to do that, or is it that just when you wrote, that's what come out?
I think MTV, we were out before MTV.
Yes.
I mean, we were out running the streets, and then next thing you know, there was MTV. And they started focusing on doing videos and spending hundreds of thousands, in some cases millions of dollars, on videos. And one of the things I did that I had, and I started, and I take credit for, is the ripped up jeans. Remember
Yes.
the
Absolutely.
first pair of ripped up jeans you ever saw? One guy said to me one night, he said, "You know what I find sexy, Lita?" And I said, "What's that?" And he says, "When a girl has a little hole in her jeans and you can see her leg through it, rather than someone who's completely naked and all spread out." And I just went, wow, that's cool. So I was driving down the street, and I stopped a guy on a telephone pole. He was climbing up the telephone pole, and the whole front of his jeans were all ripped. And I said to him, "I'll give you $100 for those jeans." And he says, "Yeah, cool. I got another pair at home. I'll be right back. I'll go get them." So I bought 2 pairs of naturally torn jeans for $100 each. Now what are they, like $400 or $500?
Yeah, well, now everybody, you walk the streets and everybody's got ripped jeans. It's you definitely started a fashionable trend. And we're talking with Lita Ford here at Hard Rock and Sports, and Lita's out promoting her upcoming tour. go out to LitaFordOnline.com to check out where all the stops are going to be. And guys, I really suggest you get out and check out the last few albums: Living Like a Runaway, Time Capsule, The Bitch Is Back, as well as the old catalog. But I'm telling you, the new stuff is just as great, if not even better now than back in the day. And I really suggest you go out and check out the book, Living Like a Runaway. You will not put it down, and it's a great read. So, Lita, let me ask you, I got a couple more things for you. Let's see, where do I want to go? Let me see. I wanted to go next to, I got a couple things written down. Let me make some notes. Let's see. No, not that one. Oh, okay. You're a perfect person to talk. I've gotten to talk to a couple of guys who were on the back on the strip back in the glory days of in LA. What was it like? You're hanging out with Nikki Sixx there's big stardom. The music scene's exploding in LA. What was it like on a normal night, hanging out at the Rainbow, whiskey? What was it like?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on the radio.
Go for it. There's no censorship here. We can take it all.
Well, we had a lot of nights at the Rainbow because we lived right up the street, and we walked home. We walked down to the Rainbow. One night we came out of the Rainbow, and Nikki had one pair of shoes. They were the ones that go over your knees, and they're bright red. They're hustler boots. And he had one pair, and they were 2 sizes too small. And he's trying to walk home in these hustler boots, and he's got his spiked black hair. And this college student, who was Mr. Let's Pick on Somebody, decided he wanted to pick on Nikki. So I handed Nikki my belt because this guy was wailing on him. And Nikki started swinging the belt, and by this time the police had arrived, and Nikki hit one of the police officers up against the side of the head with the belt. So I ended up putting my car up up for the night, and we got him out of jail the next morning. But it was just crazy, It's crazy, and this was like on a regular basis. It was always something.
Wow.
Always something.
Now, speaking of the Rainbow, you wrote some stuff with Lemmy, and I'm assuming you hung out and spent some time hanging out with Lemmy. What was it like jamming, and what was the song that you guys wrote together? I made a note, and I can't find it. You guys wrote a song together. Am I right?
Can't catch me. Can't catch me. Catch me if you can. Let's see. Oh, what a pity, such a pretty boy. California's little pride and joy. Remember that one?
Sure. I would just listen to it today, and I didn't know that you wrote with Lemmy, and I thought that was an amazing pair. What was it like sitting around in the Rainbow hanging out with Lemmy? I mean, God rest his soul. The guy was a musical genius. What was it like sitting there and just getting to jam, play music and writing with a guy like Lemmy?
It just was very natural and very easy going. He's just such a wonderful, easygoing guy. He doesn't stress you out. He minds his own business. You leave him alone and let him do what he wants. And don't tell him how to live his life, and he's happy. He's happy.
Yep.
So,
well, again,
it was writing with him.
Yeah, it had to be. Who is? Well, you know what? I got to ask this one first before I forget. I got to ask the question. We hear all the stories about the guys and their groupies, and I'm not asking for stories. I'm not asking you for any stories. I'm just curious. It's a curious question. Back in the day, all the bands used to talk about how they would have their roadies go out and they bring girls back to backstage and hang out and whatever they did. They were consenting adults. Was that part of the with people like yourself and other female artists do the same thing? Was there any of that stuff, or was that not part of the Lita Ford?
What do you mean? Go backstage and hang out?
All I'm saying is, if when you're on stage, you're playing, and you look out in the audience, did you ever say, "Hey, that's a good-looking guy. Can somebody get him backstage for me after the show?" I know the guys.
No, I never did that.
I was just curious because I've never heard of the female version of that. I've heard the guys talk about it all the time, but I never knew if somebody like yourself did anything like that. So I had to ask the question.
Yeah, it's a good question, but no, I never did. I always hung out with rock stars.
Yeah, I know. In fact, you mentioned the book. You got to hang out with Richie Blackmore. There's the very fun, I don't know if it's funny, but the interesting story about Eddie Van Halen. I think he wound up climbing out the window of your bathroom because somebody came in that wasn't expected to come in. So Bon Jovi. I remember that story. Tell me the Eddie Van Halen story. Come on, give me that one.
Yeah. He was gone. He opened up the bathroom door, and he chickened out, and he got into the bathroom, and he said, "Hey, if any one of you kill me, just bury me with my guitar." And he slammed the bathroom door. So I got this guy to leave, and after he left, I opened up the door and said, "It's all right. You can come out now, Edward, fucking pussy." And I'm looking around, and he's gone. He's not anywhere to be around. So I'm thinking, well, he either went through the air vent, which is straight up in the middle of the roof, or he crawled out the shower window, which is really skinny and little, and up on the 4th floor. So I figured that's where he had to have gone, because he didn't have a shirt on, and he had on my pants. And I remember...
Wait. Why did he have your pants on?
Because we were just playing in clothes and stuff.
Okay.
We were just playing with clothes. Stupid. We were just drunk.
Okay.
And my friend Mark, of course, is too big to get out the window of the bathroom. But Edward actually got down to Sunset Boulevard and bummed a dime off of some kid to make a phone call from a payphone. That's how long ago this was.
Wow.
And he called police, and the police actually showed up.
Holy cow, that is funny. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to wrap my head around Eddie Van Halen wearing your pants, but I'm going to try not to have that thought. Jeff, do you want to think about Eddie Van Halen?
Well, there were the 501s, the button-up 501s. Uh-huh. Kind of unisex.
That's okay. That's fine. Listen, to each their own. I will never judge Ed. Ed's the guitar god as well. And speaking of guitar god, you recently got an award, and kind of a Hall of Fame kind of award. How did at this point in your career, when you get stuff like that, what's the thought process? Is it just like, oh, that's nice, or does it really kind of validate? Does it help validate who your career?
To me, it validated my career. I think too much is too much, but it was just 2 awards, and they were both completely different. One was for the book, and one was for the album, and that meant the world to me, because not a long time has gone by, and a lot of people have really recognized that album and really recognized that book. And I think it was well-deserved. I mean, I'm not blowing smoke up my own ass here, but I really do.
Well, I agree with you. I think the book was great. Like I said, everything I've read. Is there something new coming? Do you have any new albums coming out? Are you working on any new material?
I am. I've got quite a lot of stuff I'm working on, actually. So we're just trying to wait and see what's going to happen first. Two or three different things. So
okay.
I can't give it away, or I'd talk about it.
No, that's fine. Listen, it's not the place to break in the new material. I know there's bigger places to get to put that stuff out, and you're still working on it. But we'll hope that you'll come back once you do announce it and talk to us some more and let us in on the big news. But again, I'm such a huge fan, and I really kind of was so looking forward to this interview, and you did disappoint. And I want to just there's one or two things more before I let you. I know I've had you for 40 minutes already. Just bear with it. When people call you the Queen of Metal, in the back in the day, I know they used to bother Halford a little bit. He used to talk about the metal god, but now he seems to embrace that. Do you embrace the fact that people consider you the Queen of Metal? And I think it's something that's well deserved. You broke the glass ceiling back in the day. You were the first one to come out and not only sing it but play it really well. So now when you look back, do you say, yeah, I am the Queen of Metal? I do deserve the title.
There was one title that, for me, it beat Queen of Metal, which was the First Lady of Rock Guitar. And that came from Marshall Amplifications and Guitar Player Magazine. Mm-hmm. And they dubbed me the First Lady of Rock Guitar. So that's rock royalty.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, my God, yes. And let's see. So, I've been jumping around because like I said, I'm excited to talk with you. And again, guys, make sure you check out LitaFordOnline.com for all things Lita. Remember, this Saturday night in Uncasville, Connecticut, at the Mohegan Sun Casino, check out Lita. She's also coming up December 1st in Tulsa, Oklahoma, December 2nd in Emporia, KC, Dallas, Texas, Indianapolis. She'll be in Vegas coming January 5th. Lita, I hope that all of this is as successful as you've been with your last few projects. We appreciate you coming in, you calling in, and giving us a good amount of your time tonight. What do you do for Thanksgiving? Are you a holiday person? Are you a Christmas person? What's your feelings on the holidays?
I just plod through them like they're any other day.
Okay.
There's always a lot of people that invite me, and I love it. So I'll go over real quick and say hi to one person, then jot over to the other person's house, and then jot over to the other person's house. Next thing you know, it's been 2 days. So,
Oh, good for you. Well, listen.
Say hi to everybody.
Absolutely. And again, remember, guys, we're talking with Lita Ford. Remember, December 9th, Toys for Tykes. We'll do a little more promotion on our Toys for Tykes event, December the 9th. And I'm saying it now because while Lita's on the phone is our biggest spot of guests. So I want a lot of people down giving away toys for the kids. Christmas is about the kids, and we're going to make sure that as many kids goes home with toys as possible. So, Lita Ford, I want to thank you personally.
Definitely.
I appreciate you giving us your time. You are a wonderful guest, and I hope that you'll come back again sometime and spend some more time with us. And maybe I won't be as nervous next time.
All right, I sure will. Thank you.
You're very welcome, everybody. This is Lita Ford. Check her out, Lita Ford.